Good morning, everybody. Happy 4th of July, the next day. Happy Sunday, and I thank everybody for tuning in. I'm doing a quick reading of The Connected Toad. I hope you enjoy. It's kind of tongue twister, so bear with me, but it's enjoyable to read in particular. It's more fable-like, fairy tale. There's a moral to the story, so to speak. And I really enjoyed writing it last night with some of my free time on my day off. And I love the fireworks displays, but being too close to it, people with sensitive broken eardrums, they know how it feels. They don't want to hear that or really go out and party in the heat. And so I stayed home yesterday and enjoyed myself writing this over a couple hours, maybe 3 hours. Probably about an hour and a half, and then proofing it and adjusting it to where I was very happy with its content. So let's go into this and bear with me using some cheap glasses here. I was about to say bifocals, but the cheap glasses you get at CVS to help you, the magnifiers, so to speak. The Connected Toad by P. Francis McNichol. Out of the galley gates, valley bison slovenly strode. As lily pads floated, dallying bullfrogs, teasing toads. The bison swooned as the toads rallied and mused. Bullfrogs shooing the toads, mice and valley bison confused. Where did the toads go in the boggy, craggy rigamo? Oh, what a crisis, the mighty bison scraggly crowed. You rule the pond, for that I'm duly fond, but I share land with the toads we upon. The bullfrog snapped out of a fog and froze, a slow hum replacing his juggerum prose. I float here all day and sunbathe, awaiting my bay. And the toad ribbits away as he sits in the brae. And wherever he goes, he boasts and he gloats. The frog roasted in a pompous toast. So the bison shimmied, then paused in the valley low, and pondered a moment, and laundered a woe. For he couldn't believe his ears for fear of mistake, when in walked a feared, stalking snake near the lake. "Oh, my friend in the sun," said the mighty bison, "I understand now, holy cow, for you seek attention." The sunbathing frog in the pond and fond bog smiled and thrummed in his juggerum, jumping to a log. And just then the large serpent friend coiled and crept, snatching the sunbathing frog of the lake bog as he leapt. The snake of the lake and the frog of the bog splashed. They in an embrace of debased fate and crashed. As they sunk below, deep, deep down in the brown undertow, disappearing forever, nothing boasted, no bays to bestow. The bison and mice and lowly toads happily stared, as the water stilled, and the moist, chilled air silently fared. And the beast came to know peace by the bog lake and low valley. It better to cease and resist being pompous as you dilly-dally. The end. I saw another poem or an introduction or part of a poem on Substack. And my opinion has not changed about Substack in particular. However, there's a lot of writers there, and I want to say, for lack of a better term, gauge progress in something that, in writing skills, that I might want to improve, or I want to mimic better because I believe I already did it before, and I want to practice based on inspiration coming from other authors. And I don't mean copying their work. And so when I read something and it was kind of fable-like, it was kind of moralistic in its older nature, to put fear into kids, to keep them straight and narrow, and always worry about that certain something in the back of their mind while they're out alone, away from the parental tutelage, so to speak, and the parents taking care of the child, and they're out on their own. They have to make those decisions. No, that's bad. I know something bad can come from it. Those kind of moral fables, I enjoy, but I'm not going to sit there and try to be the professional child book writer that a lot of people in their later days realize, with beautiful kids, beautiful grandkids, and what have you. They want to write a book, and it's great. It's great. It's not my style, but it is great that people are getting out there and they're writing for once in their life. And for the life of me, I don't know why I waited until 2003 to start writing actual long game, doing articles or writing letters to the editor, proofing it another hour or so afterwards and make sure it's how I wanted. And I have to catch myself sometimes just posting something quickly on Facebook, a little quip in the comments, and then I come back to it. Every time I come back to it, if someone put a thumbs up for it, a heart or something, and I get the notification, I hit it and I want to see what the content was I wrote, because I don't know necessarily what the notification is about. And I will sit there and recorrect it again if I thought there was something wrong with it or it doesn't carry the same message. And I encourage all authors to do that. It's almost to the point of vanity. However, your readers deserve it. The editors that you give your work to do the final drafts deserve to read a good piece of work. And yeah, there's going to be question marks with old words that are not in Google Word or whoever owns the word programs. And yes, it can learn by saying, okay, approve this word, and it puts it in their lexicon. But they should already know that some of those older words, or let's say the older dictionaries, okay, unless it's a really vulgar word, okay, there's a couple words that people would not know are vulgar, okay, almost as bad as the N word, but there's the PICK word with an A and ninny. You put that together, you have a very racialized, hateful, spiteful word against a child of color. Okay? Maybe not a word that specific, but that's what Webster was about, incorporating all our language, some of it slang too, some of it vulgar, and it states it is vulgar. Use caution using this. That's what I love about Webster. It goes the full distance to help understand those words that, as artists and wordsmiths, help us, especially when we're doing period work. We're doing work from a historical context. Okay? No one wants to just outright say bad words to offend people. That's not the point. You might be there engrossed in a storyline that takes place using that kind of language in the proper context when it was used in a harsh way, okay, but you're describing the story. You're enlightening us and everybody and the reader with how bad something was with that vulgarity. Webster knew that, and that's how he approached all the words. So, in essence, my computer is doing great, right? I don't know how to set it, and I'm not even worried about it. But the thing, goes in safer mode in a black screen, and it's like annoying as hell. So, anyways, the fables and poems that children are raised with, there we say we do enough of them that children or parents, okay, the adults in the room, will sit there and read them to their children, depending on how it's compiled in a compilation. And they like your writing, and who knows, 200 years ago it could become very famous, even more famous than what you just put out there, because it has a meaning. It has a meaning that transcends jurisdictions. Okay, and morality is always there with God, with Jesus Christ. Morality is always there, and I'm not trying to proselytize. But getting into a cute fable that children might read one day, or the parents might read to the children, a simple poem with a few simple rhymes, and using some of the same words also, using repetition sometimes is very powerful. In one of your, I want to say scabbards, the tools that you put in your scabbard, you can use it when you need to or you just want to, because you're not going overboard, but you're keeping it contextually simple. Some of the scraggly, I had to look up scraggly. It's no I at the end of the first G. It's spelled Scraggly. No I in there before the L. All my life I was like, scraggly? No, it's scraggly. That was pretty interesting. Strode speaks for itself. Past tense of stride. Bison. I try to do some word play with my sand and, the word bison. But the moral of this story is quit while you're ahead. It could always be worse. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to be jealous or, envious of other people where you hate them. Let it go and do your own thing. The snake is the antagonist and somewhat a protagonist in here. I didn't want to get into the weeds, so to speak, with really difficult language, bog, lake, valley low, like a valley high, kind of poetic there. Rallied, dilly-dallied. I made sure that the word dallying is by itself, standing on its own. That's a word we don't use every day, but it's common. It's a common word that we would know when we hear it. Oh, like dallying. See, I'm having trouble with it already. Dallying, bullfrogs teasing toads. Okay, and then with some of the repetition at the very end, it better to cease and resist being pompous as you dilly-dally. It's a rhyme with valley. I was doing poems more recently, and using the valley word, it's like looking up words. That word did not come across my radar. And so I was like, oh, there's got to be a lot more words that rhyme with valley in general. It had nothing to do with this poem. So, yeah, I stumbled upon it because I was like, we say it all the time. How come it's not coming up right away as in the list of rhymes? And it wasn't at first. It was all the way down, dilly-dally, 4-syllable words section of what rhymes with valley. Dilly-dally. I was like, yeah, who uses that often? Stop dilly-dallying, I understand, but dilly-dally. Present participle, present tense. Verb, so, okay, what else? Keep the words, I kept the words simple, like moist, chilled air, silently fared. Meaning it was doing well, the weather was doing well. by the lake. There was a juggerum. I purposefully searched down and tracked down and did everything in my power to uncover a word, and I haven't researched the word ribbit. So if it's new and people say it is not a new word, it is now that I'm using and I'm coining, but everybody says ribbit. Okay? Like Kermit the Frog, ribbit, ribbit. So anyways, with that in mind, I was looking for the actual word of what a frog does when it's going brrr, like the Budweiser commercials. And it's called juggerum. And it's a very easy word to spell, Juggerum. And it's basically the process of their communication, for lack of a better statement or term. And I like that word. You can use in future rhyme schemes. You can use juggerum to make that mark. People will be like, "Oh, I know that. That's frog. That's toads and frogs. They make that juggerum noise, when they're juggerum." Yeah. So I was very happy to find that. That word is by itself juggerum, as I spelled it. But there are other ways to write it out. Not off the top of my head, I don't want to make a mistake, but it might be like Jug hyphen O hyphen RUM or something to that effect. There was like 4 different ways to write it. And so I went down and I kept on reading the history of that word, and it's actually written juggerum is the easier way to do it. And I'm not sure if that's Old English or colloquial in nature, but it was fascinating. And it said that's another way you can write it. So be careful in that if you ever use juggerum in your description having to do with bullfrogs making noise. Bisons. But anyways, I'm trying to remember the poem snippet that really spurned this, because it was like a couple hours early. I had dinner, and I just saw something like a clip show up on my Gmail notifications, because Substack notifies me of everybody what they're doing. And I was like, I read this clip and it said something about the animals, and it was kind of nursery rhyme. And so I enjoyed doing it. That spurned it. And I was like, not trying to copy or not trying to outdo that, but for practice sake, I will go there and I will do it. And written as it is, it's perfect to read. And I hope people enjoy it more. I welcome other people who read poetry at symposiums, if they call it a concert or whatever they call that. If they want to read my stuff, I would be flattered, but I'd also like to see it with people who speak more fluently than I do. I would love that. I'll make no bones about it. So that was The Connected Toad by P. Francis McNichol, and I thank you guys. Please have a safe and wonderful weekend to come. Take care.